Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Seattle Angel and the Startup Investor Accelerator Workshop Series. We do these every week to try to help startups make progress and to help us create new angel investors along the way. Today, we have Pawel coming to talk a little bit about their ideas around how businesses need to think about their startup progress. And so let me bring Pawel up. Pawel, if you would introduce yourself and then dive right in, that'd be great.
Yes, of course. I'm Paweł Paplinski. I'm working with product product marketing and growth in the technology area for over 20 years, even more. Actually, in many markets, we were launching projects in Europe, US, Southern Asia, Southern America. Also doing growth of those services there. I worked for startups. I had several positions in software companies, uh, um, and also cooperating with the community of experts called squads that I'm coming here showing some let's say experience related to helping startups from squads. I have here on the line also my colleague Danny, um, and basically what I wanted to show you today is a very important thing, which is basically how to start with launching, developing new products, making sure that this product is really solving a real problem. We have a lot of experience in supporting startups in it, and basically, probably this time here, it's not possible to tell everything. I will start to focus, give you a bit of an overview, what it's necessary to be done, and how to apply some techniques to be sure or maximize the chance for success. John, should I start or will we
Yeah,
have any
go.
other introduction?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, go.
Okay, great. Perfect. So a bit about Squad. So we are like, such a community of developers, but also growth experts working. This community is working for more than 10 years now. We have like ready teams, and those teams are ready to help to startups that can even without having their own staff start and solve the problems and make launch of their product as fast as possible. We always work with partners, trying to working on a longer cooperation, focusing on a longer cooperation, and we have quite a long track record of successful projects. We are everywhere in the world, right? So the community, there's people from many places in America, Europe, Asia, India, Africa, cooperating together in a remote way. So it's diverse international network. And basically our focus are startups, right? So we want to we believe we have all the skills from development, product management, design, growth, digital marketing, etc. So can very quickly come and help make ideas into reality. We also have something which is called Squads Member Fund. That's an entity that can also support startups from the perspective of funding and focus on very pre-seed even stage, and hopefully also this fund is also open for cooperation with investors. What what I could start from is actually that, as probably everyone knows, most of startups fall, unfortunately. And when you look at reasons why it's like that, analyze those reasons. I took this CB Insights report on startup failures. Actually, the main reason is neglecting product market fit, right? So the founders come, have some idea that looks amazing, right? This idea is maybe even confirmed with some group of society, but apparently, when the work starts further, very often sees that there is no demand for this particular thing. And when you look at market research, 42% of startups falls because of the reason that there is no interest for the product. But if you add additional reasons like poor product or product not in the right moment, etc., probably get to the level of 60-70%. Other reasons are more like operational, like many startups is overemphasized on hiring, building organization from the beginning, unless this product is really mature. We have, of course, problems sometimes with vision, which is more strategic. We have problems with also not being agile enough and pivot when we see that the idea is not working. That all leads to inefficient use of funds that basically leads many startups to burn all the investments and don't have really success. But product market fit, good product is the main reason. That's why we believe that it's incredibly important to focus first, and I would say in the early stage startup, this is like the main thing. Find a product market fit. Be absolutely sure that the solution, the idea we are offering, solves a real problem and not the problem that appeared only in let's say maybe experience of founders that may be not representative. This is very important to validate this idea before scaling. Many startups make this mistake that start to scale not validating well the idea. It's also very important to continuously validate this idea, because even at the beginning, when we see that more or less what we've created makes sense and there is a market to grow with this product, apparently going further, market changes, competition appears, reacts, also getting further, our product grows with features, and we may make mistakes. We did maybe make mistake at the beginning, but then adding new features, we can apparently go into wrong direction. So it's very important to continuously analyze this product market fit. Very important points like focus on this value, and from hundreds of directions we can choose and tens of features we can build, we should actually be sure that we are continuously prioritizing those ones that are delivering real customer value. And this is the most important thing that the early stage startup has to focus, being sure that the good delivering value product market fit exists. If we don't do it, that's the prime way of success. And if some very young the prime way to lack of success. And if some new organizations start to focus on finding efficiency at this very beginning, optimizing organization, but not being sure that this market fit exists, this is also can lead to a problem. We have, I will give you a link later, a longer white paper on our on Squad's website that provides this more context about all of that. But I will focus here especially on finding of the market good product market. So maybe there are any questions at this stage, or was I first time here in this event, so I don't know how it should work. Should we take questions as they appear? Should it be more like a discussion, or should it wait till the end?
Yeah, so I've been chatting a little bit in the chat, but I have not seen any specific questions come in. We did see Victor asked a question about monetizing content, and there was a discussion or a question from Frank about content strategy, which I've sort of been chatting a little bit about. But if people have a question, please put it into the chat and I'll bring them up along the way. And then anytime you want to have a Q&A, we can drop the screen and engage in discussion however you like, Pawel.
Okay, sure.
Oh, I see Steven's hand is up.
Yeah, Pawel, just a question just about what you just said right just before, and that is you mentioned continuous validation of the product market fit, and I thought it might be a nice example if you could explain how you do that at Squads, but you can maybe later.
Yeah, I can do that, and it's not only at Squads, in many companies, and I will show further those different tools that normally should be used. The continuous validation, this aspect, should be addressed mainly with a proper product analytics. So let's say there are stages of creation of the product. We are creating first a prototype, MVP, something which called MMP, so minimum marketable product. I will show more about the kind of a process that we propose to use. But what makes this continuous validation work is when the product already works and has some users, we need to, and I will tell you that many companies does not prioritize that, I would say, and that's, I think, a big mistake. To establish a good product analytics, continuously analyze user behavior, see which features are used, which features are not used, how they are used, etc. And that should be like continuously integrated with the development process. I will tell a bit more about that later.
So I'm sort of yelling in the chat here a little bit. When we think about the 4 steps to epiphany, which is the framework that I use to think about startups, I try to run away from MVP because it locks people into the conversation about the product, where I want to have people think about the customer problem fit, not the customer solution fit. And so when you start naming features and aspects of the solution, we destroy the ability for the customers to tell us what's wrong. And so where you can you focus earlier in the process about how we find customer problem fit and what kinds of experiments we can do with that, which don't involve any suggestion of how I'm going to solve the problem?
Yes, of course. And this is actually what I have now on the screen. I really like this canvas that comes from Alexander Osterweiler Value Proposition Design book, which is like a part of a bigger value proposition design methodology, which is called value proposition canvas. This is like a canvas that allows us to structure our thoughts about what customer may need and how we can fulfill those needs. Every time when I start to work on some project, new product, I start to structure my thoughts using this, and then in this structure, make next experiments, next moves, use new tools to verify if that what is here makes sense. So basically, it has like two parts. The right part, that's our user, right? And this user has some jobs to be done. And so those jobs is basically tasks that he has to complete, right? It's not a job at work, right? It can be a dual user whose job can be buy products and make a dinner, for example, or find the best place for vacations. So basically, it has some things to be done, and on the path of fulfilling those things to be done, the person experiences pains, right? So pains are, let's say, things that are really like stones in your shoes, that you probably know what I'm talking about. Things are not doing that smoothly, right? So things like, I will use the example of digital banking later. So you can say like, I was in US 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to pay with a credit card, and apparently my card was in euro. So all was fine, but apparently I see that there is a 10% commission on any currency transfer, right? So that's a pain, right? Something that maybe I didn't even notice that exists, that leads to spending much more money than I thought. And there's much more pains. And the first thing is really well describe those pains, find those pains, and confirm that they are really pains. We may think that they are pains, but they are not. I can give you an example here. So say I was thinking about such a product that enables people who are testing hardware to test this hardware online, right? So like be faster. I don't need to have order the parts, etc. And it was like obvious that when I have the possibility to make this testing faster online, it will be better. It will enable to remove number of pains. Apparently, talking to customers, we see that this is not the pain, because actually they like to to touch this hardware by themselves. This is the element of their work. And actually they don't find any pain in it. So it's very important to find really things that are annoying us when making our jobs. Second element are gains. So basically, actually things that could help us in making. So at once we see that if we have it, that would be much easier. Actually, users have a lot of ideas for a product by themselves. When you talk to anyone, if you go to a shop buying food, probably customers at once would tell you that they would prefer to maybe have those things in a different way put in a shop, or they would like to have the possibility to, I don't know, make a loan for this, or should be, I don't know, like a micro loan. A lot of ideas, depending on, of course, some of them make more sense. Some of them are related only with one small group of people, or even single person, but everyone has some ideas how to create a better experience during using of some products. Those things are gains. And then the first part of this canvas should be basically filled in. I will show how to do that. And then when we have it filled in and confirmed at that stage, at this stage, right, we're just starting, we are just putting all our knowledge on the paper. Then we start to analyze how we can help. Yes, and we are thinking about pain relievers. So what potentially we could do to eliminate this pain, and then we could think about gain creators. So things that could enforce those customer ideas. How we could do that. And then only when we fill it in, then we can start to think about features of the product. But again, we are not thinking yet often about the product, but more like about something that could help in delivering these gain creators and pain relievers. Design of the product, it's a next step with it, but definitely we still cannot start working on design of the product if we are not sure that what we put here makes sense. So it's again a bit of an iterative process that when we fill in this canvas, we should try to go to customers, ask if it's true, verify every of those pains, every of those gains with a bigger group, understand, review our gain creators, review our pain relievers, then think about reviewing our product feature. Also, very important, prioritizations of pains and gains, because there are many of them and we cannot do everything. So we also have to understand what is more important and what is less important. Any questions here? If not, I will move to the next step. We'll try to fill in this canvas to show how we normally do that.
I have not seen any new questions come up around this. I've been chatting a little bit about the idea of monetizing the content strategy. If you could talk about how you would validate someone is a customer, I think that would be a useful conversation.
I raised my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Stephen raised his hand. Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't heard about this, customer jobs idea, and I'm not completely convinced it's useful, because I think you might have a customer who has a pain, but it is not based on a job, on a particular job.
I think they're using the word job to represent task. So what is the thing that needs to be done?
I don't think pains are always part of tasks. So
there's a whole theory from Christensen around this, and I put the book into the chat if you would like to see where that theory came from.
I think, I mean, I can see that. I can see that, if you have such a thing, if you have a task and a customer who wants to perform that task, but then they have some pains on the way, then I can see that you can come up with, useful products and, something you can sell. But I think at this point, I can't tell how much you're leaving out by focusing on that.
Yeah. Let's maybe get to the example, and then maybe it will become more clear, because I think that pains are always, I would say, and indeed, jobs are tasks. What I said, it's not a job at work, definitely. So, so let's focus on some idea of banking. We can try to do also with some other, if we have more time. So we have a user. This is just the individual user. Very important is to define who is the user, the persona we are servicing. I think we should start actually from it, because if we start to look too wide, our results and conclusions would be too general. So we have just a typical person having typical banking requirements. I want to manage my money, right? Maybe I have a family. I need to. I have some savings. I have some income. I have some bills to pay. I need to store, transfer, receive. This is one of my job. I have to pay bills, right? And I also have to track spending to understand that I'm not spending more than I earn. Very simple example. Yeah. So what can happen, right? So I have problems with security, right? I would like to do it through, and I'm doing it through some mobile app, but I still not fully sure that this app provides the full required security, and someone will not steal my money. I can have a complicated interface. We are getting to segmentation of the users here. What is complicated for my mother maybe not be complicated for me. So that's why I'm saying it's very important to define what user, what persona of the user segment we are talking about. Sometimes making such projects, we should create this canvas for number of personas and compare different canvases between each other. But it can be a pain, right? I may not understand. I may not find. I may not find the proper place I want. I can tell you that I'm using one of very popular banking services these days, and they were changing interface of the app very frequently recently, and I had a problem one moment with finding where are the really my cards. That's because they were like hiding it in this interface, so they create like the pain by themselves, right? But it was a pain in using this type of product. We can have some hidden fees and conversion costs when we are traveling and making conversions. This is a pain. I would prefer to have it very clear what I'm paying for. Also, to these days, I can tell you, surprising, right? Because in fintech, in banking, we have now like instant transfers. At least in Europe, many banks still not offer as a standard instant transfer functionality, or it's very expensive, right? So like pay 10 euro for instant transfer, right? So, and then you send the money now, and you have to wait like a day or sometimes two for the money to get to another bank, especially when it's in another country. That is a pain. And probably we can, depending on the persona, define much more of those pains. Some of them are more important, some of them are less important, but they are still something that is not pleasant for those users. Gains, again, is the kind of opposite. The easy-to-use interface are the general here, but our user can have particular, very precise ideas what could be improved if we start to talk to them and try to understand. And some things that can be really crucial for them. For example, again, with banking app, sometimes we have to make like a transfer to send to someone money, and this person is next to you, and some apps offer possibility to hide balances because you actually don't want to show to this person that is next to you what is your bank account state. But some apps don't offer it still, right? And it's something creating a bit of fraction, and the idea like to have a button hide bank statements of your account can be actually a good idea how to improve the interface. And also this easiness of use is more like functional change, but easiness of use can be also a thing that users can have ideas for. Low on fees, especially for simple things like transfers, security of transactions, the question how to achieve this security. Sometimes people are looking not only for security, but actually for feeling of the security. And also this security sometimes does not match with the easiness to use. When we have like two-factor authentication, this two-factor authentication actually can make your experience super annoying and gives additional security, but actually creates a pain at the same time. So this is something that we have to very deeply investigate to understand how to prioritize and what is really a pain and what is really a gain. Also, those instant transfers, this is something that can, if the transfer will be instant, immediately done, can be in this case again. And let's say that's how we fill out this canvas. Again, it can be first done at a very general level. We can deep dive. We can make a next version of those canvases focusing only on particular areas and make it more granular, more granular. As well, we can repeat those canvases for different personas and trying to look not only for the ideal product, but ideal, not the ideal, I would say, description of it, but ideal description for a specific match between persona and those jobs, gains and pains. When we fill in this, then the product designer or product manager starts to think how it can be used for ideas to create a product, right? So it can again come with ideas at the beginning, like strong two-factor authentication to increase security. Maybe there are other ideas that will increase actually not security, but security worries. So more factor related to impression that the security is not good. Improvement of the design, making a value of very good structure that gives low fees, right? Maybe we can decide to not earn on some obvious things to earn actually on other. We can find more ways of monetization. instant money transfers. It's also very interesting. One of the banking app I have, I'm using actually only for transfers because they have instant transfers. So transferring for free. So I'm transferring to this app and to the other app, making transfer to another country, doing it for free immediately between countries, and I'm not using any other features of this bank. So let's say when someone who creates a product finds out that such a group of customers like me is only using it for this one feature and super important for that, that's very important finding. That may really simplify what you want to build, right? Because we don't need to build a full-blown banking app. Maybe we can build a small app that will find this particular important problem that people cannot still find the way how to do, and do it in a way that will relieve the pain. Then we think about game creators, right? Fast, hassle, quick transfer, cost-effective, secure and instant transaction. Again, I'm talking here quite high level, but if we specify and make granular those pains and gains on the right part of the canvas, we can try to make much more specific those ideas that we can create here. And then, of course, when we fill it in, we can try to think about the product, right? And what features are the most important. And it's not the end. It's just the beginning of the process of finding a market fit, because we did it based on what we think and the data what we have, but we should build it based on a real user feedback. And further part of this presentation is about how to find this user feedback and how to do this continuous development, and how it all impacts something we call the startup development process, where startup needs to make some decisions to move forward, and those decisions should be based on a real user feedback. Are there any questions at this stage?
I'm not seeing any alternative questions coming in. Anybody have any questions? Raise your hand. Tom just raised his hand. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. Paweł, what a question. This whole canvas, this is like a standardized canvas for this exercise, or this is like your custom creation?
No, it's a standardized canvas. It comes from a book, Value Proposition Design. I linked here in this presentation.
Thank you.
And it's a base of, it's a big part of a bigger methodology, I would say, and bigger theory how it would be. But I like especially this one because it fits basically well also to the way I work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I put a link to the book in the chat as well. Other questions? I'm not seeing any signs, not seeing anything in the chat.
Okay. So when we fill in the canvas, then we actually have to validate if it makes sense. And this validation should be done before we start to invest, especially invest heavily. This is the problem that many startups make, that it's sometimes stimulated by by investors. I think the idea appears to be interesting. Some significant money come, and we think that we should start to invest, start to build, but start to develop something, right? But it's not yet in reality well confirmed. So there's a couple of things that that startups can do using quite small budgets to prove that the market fit exists, or maximize the chance that this product market fit exists. First thing is market research, and I'm not talking here about statistical market research. I'm talking here about just sitting and using different open sources, but in a good well-structured way, capture the information and to understand the market, understand the market landscape, etc. Second things is go to the customers, go to the potential customers, focus groups, surveys, interviews. This tool should be used before even the product exists. We can make mock-ups, we can make some prototype that is based maybe in Figma. I'll tell about that, and already start to show it to your potential users to understand their feedback. This is to confirm that they are pain relievers there, they are gains creator there, and to understand the priority. We can find out really unexpected things. Then prototyping and testing. So prototype, as I said, we didn't need to build a product yet to try to make some review with potential users. And then something we called MVP, minimal viable product, when we know that that it can make sense what we build. We have to try to construct it, but in a way that enables you to also test it, and only, let's say, minimizing investment so as only those features who are crucial are in it. And then we should use it basically to gather a feedback. You can do it in a different ways, also with some users, asking them. We can also give our product to be used for free, using some product-led growth strategies. But MVP basically is also to test if the idea makes sense. And then, of course, we have to constantly, and this like when we already have something working, analyze customer behavior. There are tools that enable us to track exactly what users are doing, how much time spent in your product, how they interact with it, what creates, what breaks the flow, what are the preferences. And this is like a crime when a product is created and a strong analytical mechanism is not set up on it. And it's often like that, right? That we build a product, even try to sell it, but analytics is somehow like left for later. And it actually should be done at the very beginning at once. So, well, this market research, right? we need to identify what's happening on the market. We need to identify what is trendy. We need to confront our canvas we filled in also with like a bigger picture of what's happening on the market, right? We can check different places. We can check what are trends in keywords that are used. We can in searches. We can find what is written on different industry blogs. What excites people. What are the comments at different LinkedIn posts? Some things are obvious, like it's obvious that everyone is now excited with large language models, but something are less obvious, and actually getting there, analyzing, looking at it, and writing down findings, documenting those findings to not forget about it and keep track on it. It's a crucial thing that should actually start from when thinking about building some product. It's a good habit to try to estimate a market size for it, and we don't need to have like a super difficult tools. Nowadays, everything is on the internet. You can easily, by crossing a couple of data sources, understand what is the market size of your product, right? When we are talking about this banking app, and we, let's say, focus only on making instant transfers, I believe we can, like in 30 minutes, build a very good summary of what we can expect in the market, try to estimate how it also differs geographically, try to understand how geographically this problem can be distributed, what different problem can appear in different countries. That all should give us some initial insights where to focus our growth activities. We should then document it, right? So let's spend some time on basically going through all the available open sources, trying to summarize top trends, some gaps, some problems that people are talking about, and document it. Desk research, right? It's a lot of market reports. Some they are cost a bit of money, but certainly not very big money that we could purchase. And this market report data, when we can always say where our data comes from, is also very important thing that is necessary to talk to any investors. Also, to try to summarize what we got to know. Next thing is competition analysis, and this also surprisingly thing that many startups forgets about at the beginning completely, right? So a lot of founders think, yeah, I have an amazing idea, I'll change the world. I will. Did you? And you ask, did you know any competition? Who is your competitor? Here, say there's no competitor. There's no such a tool. Indeed, maybe there is no exactly such a tool, but I would bet that in 95% of cases, and when we are thinking not about tools, but more like about needs, those problems, those gains and pains, we will quickly realize that there is a lot of other products or tools may be different, but solving similar problem. And so it's not competition is not just about finding just not about finding exactly the same products and comparing them. It's about finding solutions, solving the same problems, and comparing them. And by the way, a lot of information is also open. We can also use Crunchbase to see and get more information about startups and also scale-ups or companies that are building similar products. And from my personal experience, it's like then when you find people doing similar thing, it's not bad, it's actually good. It means that the chance that you are trying to solve the real problem is bigger because there's more people like you who wants to do it, and actually it's a good news. And market is probably that big that every one of you can benefit from it. So, but you have to know basically what's going on, right? What's the trend? What are potential competitions, substitutes? So different products that give you the similar capabilities, solving similar problems. Customer needs, well, it can be also analyzed in the market research without anything like internet. If you start to analyze substitute, do a good competition analysis, found companies that are offering something that is solving similar problem, and start to read reviews of their products, start to summarize those reviews in places like Reddit or Amazon, different shops, right, or wherever, forums, communities, you can find a lot of problems in this product, actually pains that are not solved there, or gains in terms of some proposal that users are proposing to improve the product. And if you are creative and well, I would say structured in finding those real ones, you actually can find ideas for your products just analyzing competition and reviews, what those people are doing bad, because actually that can be an opportunity for you. Try to make such an exercise, focus on some market, analyze like those reviews, find 10 customer pain points, and maybe that can already give inspiration what should be actually built to relieve those pain points. This is all those things here in market research are things that are in this methodology, starting from the value proposition canvas, enable you to verify if you are right, setting up those pains, gains, and then basically you can make another canvas after making market research, that canvas that will be more closer to the reality. Do you have any questions here?
There was a question by Dory about, I have a customer cohort and it's small. Should I deal with my previous customers or should I look for new customers?
Meaning, well, this is meaning that you analyze some group and you see that this group is small and will not enable to get any good financial results, right?
Yeah, I think what they're
Is it-
asking is, when I'm running my experiments, should I be focusing on the ones that are already customers, or should I be looking at the ones that are new, different markets?
Oh, it depends on the strategy. If we have a big customer base, we see the potential for upsell of new products. We should analyze this customer base. If we see that our product doesn't work, if we try to make a couple of iterations improving it, at one moment we can think that maybe the market is wrong.
So
Yeah, this
when I
this
think-
is
when
this
I-
like
when I think
this is
about
the multidimensional problem always. Sorry.
always, yes. So I think, if you're not cash flow positive, then what you're trying to do is to figure out how to get to cash flow positive as fast as possible. And to do that, you have to find what the submarket is that will convert fastest, not biggest, but fastest. So you get to some form of stability, right? And that could be because you understand your current customers very well. So you know how to find your current customers, other people that look like your current customers, or you can find new customers that convert faster than your current base. So those are two experiments to run against each other in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. There is one additional element that is important to be taken into account looking at different markets, which is not only related with the product functionality that we are now discussing, which is actually a pricing. Different segments can be more price sensitive, less price sensitive, richer or less rich. And basically, sometimes, and this extends beyond the subject that I'm covering here. It's more like a go-to-market strategy because we have at one moment we have to decide how much our product should cost and to what market we should go and to make a proper decision, we should look not only at those needs, gains, pains, etc., which is obviously the product market fit must be there, right? But we also should look at other factors, like what price should be, what is the average time to buy on this market if we go in B2B market. Dealing with some companies may be very long. In other, the purchase can be done very fast. It also impacts your business case afterwards. So it's in the end, when we start from the idea and say that the goal is to actually sell a lot and have a positive cash flow, then the problem at one moment becomes really multidimensional. That creates another complexity. But the very basis of all of that is proper market fit that you have to find, and that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's not always like full optimization exercise to create a good marketing mix and product and marketing mix, because I maybe as a founder, for example, very interested in saving a planet and helping and doing things that will in the end make our planet a better place, atmosphere clearer, etc. We actually Squad's member fund supports such a sustainable business ideas. And basically, I can go to some particular segment of users only because I like and it's close to my heart. That simplifies my optimization exercise. Maybe it will not give me that much profits if I had in the end, but I'll be doing what I think is good, right? So that's something. Sometimes it's not only mathematics, right? Sometimes it's just what we want to do and what we like to do, and the segment that we want to that we feel that we understand. Okay. Okay, we went through the market research. So we did this market research, but we as I said, we have to start to talk to a real user as soon as possible. And that's another element of let's say market discovery project, and a discovery project that leads to finding a proper market fit, to gather as much as possible insights. Of course, as a startup, we don't have like super big money to make like statistical research. Also, on some markets, they are not needed because we are not selling like to millions of people. Of course, sometimes we want, sometimes it's smaller market. But we can just start from focus groups, right? So we gather 6-8 people we think like target customers, put them in the neutral environment, prepare questions based on our canvas we prepared and market research that we did, and try to using open-ended questions, prompt discussion, write a proper I'd say find out from those users what do they think, asking them questions based on what we have. How to do this? Usually good to have at least 2 people, one leading a discussion, second making notes. Good to record it, and it's a tool that apparently it's quite easy to organize and does not require any very big investment, and gives a lot of insights, right? Because you can get much more than from surveys. Surveys are more already closer to some statistical research, because we can say this is like preparing questions, making like using like tools like these as Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, or something similar, and sending it to as many people as you can capture. This is important to understand that such cases you will have a response rate that will not be massive. So if you want to get 100 response, probably have to send it to a couple of hundred of people, and of course, depending on whom you are dealing with. If you're dealing with friends, you will have more responses, but they will be less representative, because it's not be like group of random people from your target segment, but it can give you also good good insights. Also interesting in such surveys is that there is like at least 1 or 2 open questions, because in these open answers, sometimes from just a few users, you can find gold. And then third way to talk with the customers is just making an individual one-to-one interviews. You can on it cover much more questions and get more information than during focus groups and surveys. Of course, we want one customer, so it will be like very subjective in that case. But if you talk to 10 of them, then you can start to find some patterns. We are doing this tool very extensively, and most of companies, software companies, are using this tool very extensively. Those interviews should be recorded, and it has to be very structured. So we really have to prepare questions in advance. We have to be very specific. And one mistake that is often done by people making such interviews, discovery calls, or discussions with potential users, customers, is to dominating a discussion, right? So instead of listening, we are trying to sell our solution, right? So it's not a sales call. It's absolutely, it should be absolutely objective. We should forget about what we have in mind. Remember about jobs, potential pains and gains, and try to verify it, trying to not think about ideas how to solve that all yet. Yeah, and this will give you next level of information. Next one, and I think now we can start a bit develop something and invest some money into building your product, is prototyping and testing. So at that stage, we should be quite well equipped with information from market and from users. We should quite well have well groomed canvas, and then we can start to design. And I would not recommend to start building a prototype. I would more like recommend to start with a design. This design can be built in like tools with Figma. We can make a demo and basically share this demo with a small group of target users. If we have people which we already interviewed, we can come back to them, or we can based on their insight, we can basically correct the design. This is a first step. The second step is developing an MVP. Already are starting to build a product. So very limited functionality, just focus on key findings and key things that we want to address. We should use the feedback from everything we did so far, and focus on the essential feature, addressing essential points. And again, the main role of MVP is testing, right? So we can already try validating. We will not make money on MVP. I don't think that we should expect to make money on selling MVP. But this MVP can be something that can be already shared with real users. We can try to give them some beta access for free. We can try conduct usability testing to ensure that the product is intuitive. That requires some more investment, but I think this also is something that can give good insight what should be corrected in the next step. And what is also interesting that however we went through a lot of these stages so far, from market research from building our canvas, market research, interviews, testing the prototype, building the MVP. In many cases, actually, when the MVP meets the market, it appears that it requires changes, right? And a bit of a cycle starts to appear with testing and MVP. I will show you in a moment how Squads addresses this with the framework that Squads uses. And then when what's again very important is constant analyzing of user behavior. If we are in the software business, we are providing some apps. We should as soon as possible develop tracking. There are tools for it. These are like Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Amplitude, several other tools enabling to put into your product tracking scripts and configure basically monitoring, showing engagement, monthly active users, how those users behave, do they return to your product, how many returning users do you have, how often do they return, what are the user patterns, where are the drop-offs, so where the user flow breaks, right? Sometimes people are trying to do their job in the app and apparently it's broken. They leave it at one moment and it's like a pattern that appears. You cannot verify it without a good setup of monitoring data, and then it should be used continuously to improve your product. And so any new release should try to eliminate those drop-offs, increase engagement of the users, and focus on developing features that are enforcing your required usage patterns, that users are doing what you do. That's the science by itself, right? Using those tools and building of those things. If anyone is interested, I'm happy to discuss further and advise on it. We are quite good competences in it. Are there any questions?
I have not seen other questions come in. Anybody have hands to come up? Raise your hand if you have a question. While we're waiting for that, you said, I don't think we should pay for our MVP. And I posted in the chat that I'm on the other side of that line. I think you should be using money as a mechanism to evaluate if someone is a customer versus if someone is an early customer versus is someone a cheerleader. And I really only want to talk to customers, not cheerleaders. So I want to monetize my content. I want to monetize my pre-alpha customer slots. I want to monetize my pre-beta slots and gather people in who are paying people who show that they're very, very, very interested in having the problem solved even before I've defined the product. So I monetize early in my mental model. You want to comment on that a little bit?
Yeah. I personally think that at the very beginning of the startup activity, that may be wrong, right? Because there are different startups, and it's not always the same. It's more important again to find a product market fit and be absolutely sure that this product has functionally value than looking for monetization very, very fast. There is
Right.
a lot
So-
of very
So
successful products
this is
like
the fundamental difference between seeking product market fit and seeking customer problem fit. And so let me
Yes.
press on this even harder. How do I know at the very beginning, when all I'm looking for is customer problem fit, that I have a customer that I'm talking to rather than a random user who is a cheerleader but will never pay me in the next year?
At one moment you start to monetize, and this is the moment where you
And-
get
and
to know.
So in order for me to do customer problem fit, I must monetize to qualify people as customers before I've even defined the solution. So that's why monetization is important, not because it creates revenue, but because it defines customers, which is why focusing on customer problem fit and getting clarity on who's a customer, that is somebody who's willing to spend money today to solve the problem, is important, and why you need to stay away from MVPs at the beginning, because it's not about the product, it's about the problem. And the problem market fit, the product market fit is step 3 or step 3.5, where the
Yeah.
beginning is customer problem fit. Where's my list of 100 people who paid me about this problem? Do the experiments
Yeah.
change if I'm using this methodology?
Yeah. I think not much. I think you just need to start about pricing, discussing about pricing at the very beginning. You can and some elements were already included here, right? I was talking about size, finding size of the market at the beginning, trying to also calculate what I can get from it. We can also try to find to use pricing as one of the variables of the product, dimensions of the product, talking to our customers. I don't think that it's really changes the methodology. Product in the end, it's a functionality plus price, right? In the end.
Yep.
So we can check the price at the very beginning. But I would say that there are different schools here and approaches, because when we look at companies like even Google, Facebook, Slack, they all started with a free product and started monetize later. I would say, right? Maybe they are super lucky. Okay, I'm not saying that not, because there are like unique companies that grew up amazingly. So there is also an approach when you leave this pricing element for later. But this what you propose, John, absolutely makes perfect sense, and I actually also like it. And yeah, I think that makes perfect sense to analyze this pricing element at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you and I should spend some time running some experiments and documenting them on
Yeah.
customer problem fit, and try and show how you can do that without the product at all, and work with that. I see Tom has his hand up. Tom?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, John. John, I'm with you here. I'm in view here fully, so I fully support like we should start monetize as early as possible to understand the customer better. And that's what I've done right now with my lobby4.com new venture. I basically, instead of creating a Figma prototype, paying some designers, I know, some UX UI experts to create Figma and pay like thousands of bucks, unfortunately, because still it would cost money. I decided to go for a little bit more, like a couple of thousand more, but to develop real MVP with low code, no code, basically solution. And I'm starting like, a premium paid features day one of AVP
Yeah,
life. So that's my idea.
I
Yeah. Also,
I wanna, bash your fingers and tell you to take your hands off the product and to go back all the way to the beginning and ask who are the people that are the customers and figure out what their problem is and I have this vision of what the product is going to be. That's step 4. I'm back at step 1. Where's 100 customers? What's the problem? How do they express what their problem is? And to monetize content around the problem. For example, I could take my competitive matrix of all the things they currently do and why they suck. And I could do a bunch of workshops about those. And half of them I give for free and half of them I charge $25 for.
that's exactly what I've done. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then that shows me of the people who are coming into the paid one, those are the ones I should be interviewing. And then go through the interview
Yep.
process that Pawel was talking about.
Yep.
To try to understand what the features are and so forth. And when I get 100 of them, then I take my solution proposal and I ask them if they will pay me to be pre-alpha participants. Pre-alpha meaning I have not built anything. All that I'm doing is calling you into a meeting and we're going to prioritize the features I'm going to build, right? Step 1, still have no product, but they paid me twice. Pawel, any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that there is no like a one golden way to do it. I think that this approach makes perfect sense in the case of some products may be very successful. And when you manage to monetize early, that's of course better for a business. Absolutely. I fully agree. But I also I also saw businesses that try to do it and basically did not succeed because their product was not solving the problem at all, right? And maybe there were people who bought a promise, but the product was not good enough, right? So I would say like that. I'd say like that.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very interested in Tom also in your product. That sounds really great. Maybe we could talk later.
Are you at the end of your slides?
Almost. Not yet. Right. We still, I think, have a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's interesting. Adding pricing to this methodology as the additional dimension makes definitely sense. We see that there is like kind of say the squad's a community of developers who can help startups. We developed something that's called like startup development framework, where everything goes through a validation cycle, right? And that's we start with idea, we create a prototype, we validate this prototype, we can validate it with pricing as well, that's fine. In many cases, we see that it doesn't work. So we change, validate again, and then when we see that it's good enough, we get to building this MVP and trying to make an again cycle of validation. This is not mainly strictly about finding the market fit, because it should be found as soon as possible here, but it also shows that a startup should not make a mistake of building the structures too fast, or also investing into things that are not necessary too fast. There is a good possibility of partnerships, scaling the organization up and down, and we've seen that many companies, startups work in line with this scheme, where you have a validation of the prototype, validation of MVP, validation of NMP, scaling, etc. I would maybe not get too much into this now, but just wanted to signal it, and we are also happy to have some more discussion with anyone who's interested how we saw development of the startup. Yes, Stefan?
Yeah, I think your slide shows early validation 10K per iteration. Does that mean squads? Does this validation?
No. That's we saw many startups, and actually I put here those numbers in purpose, like we have a bit of feedback. But we saw in many companies that was needed for making a validation, really validation, building those first prototypes, and finding the proper market fit that could be used to with the big chance to success, that could be used for the next second phase. Then when startups started to make another iteration with building like MVP, we were talking about the investments at the level of 100,000, and this is what we saw basically in many companies. So how do you see that? Does those numbers make sense, and you think that it can be done cheaper or is more expensive?
Well, I was first trying to make sure I understand what I'm seeing. However, does it also mean that squads is involved in the validation? So in these customer interviews, in the surveys?
Yes. So Squads has teams, grow teams that are able to do to perform all those all this work for the startup. We have it.
Right.
We can. It's just like we this is something we can help with. We have people, and it doesn't mean that it at once costs 10,000 because it depends,
Okay.
you know.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought there was this, this basic approach in the startup world that the founders do their own interviews, or the team around the founders, and you wouldn't outsource that. So you're kind of saying there are it has been done to outsource it to you guys, I guess.
Not only to us. It's like what they managed to spend to have a good confirmed prototype.
So if you're doing your early customer discovery, customer problem fit discovery, you have a bunch of actions you have to take, right? You're going to have a channel. You're going to have a bunch of people you're trying to reach. You're going to touch a bunch of LinkedIns. You're going to do a bunch of typing on things. A lot of that is work, which is not cognitive work for the founders. right?
Yeah.
And so there, you can take a lot of that cognitive work and hand it to someone else, but all the cognitive work about what's the sub-segment, what kinds of personas are we actually hunting for, sorting people into the piles, asking the questions, and then getting the answers and describing those answers into an understanding, that requires the founders to be paying attention. And so when you look at venture builders, where venture builders are doing this as a business, they typically have a staff at the bottom that are doing all of the ads and doing all the LinkedIn posts and doing all the social media stuff. But the EIRs that are the future CEOs are, elbow deep into the process of making that happen. And I think that's probably what you're going to need to do. And Pavel, perhaps you could talk about how Squads dances that dance.
Yeah. Squads have teams working with each other for. Sorry, do you still see my screen? Okay. Teams working with each other and helping startups for 10 years. And we basically have people with all the capabilities needed to develop startup and scale it up. Squads work in a very elastic way, in sprints, does not require long-term commitments, is ready to help with any tasks that the startup should do from the beginning, validation of the idea, development of the MVP, development of the real product, marketing, and growing of the product. If you need any help with it, we are ready to discuss. Right? It's basically about any of those stages. I don't want this presentation to be a marketing of Squads. We want it more like to get the say present our findings, our experience, get in contact with this amazing community. But yes, Squads is ready to help.
So it's very unusual to have a group that does technology work and also does market work together, right?
Yeah.
And so I have found very few service providers who do coding of things and do customer development of things. I can find marketing people who don't actually do customer discovery, and I can do build me the prototype people who don't do customer discovery, but Squads is the only one that says that they're willing to do that level of work. I have found organizations that do customer interviews, but they tend to be like way up the food train, and they're doing things with larger programs for enterprise, but they very rarely are functional down at the startup level. I would expect with your numbers that I can do a build, measure, learn loop in a couple of weeks for $1,000 as a founder. Even if I'm paying, virtual assistants to go do the work on the thing, that kind of thing is possible at the very beginning. But I need to spend enough of my brain power to make those experiments useful. Are there other things you want to say, Pavel?
Understand your customers, validate early and often, iterate and improve, scale strategically, not too fast, and think about reducing risks. And I really appreciate sharing this early monetization idea. It's also something interesting for us, but we also strongly believe that functionally product market fit and solving the right problem is the very important basis for anything. That's it.
Cool. Thank you so much. I think everybody wants the stuff on your slide. Can you paste that into the chat and then lower your screen and we'll do some Q&A as a group?
Yeah, absolutely.
So does anybody have questions or issues they want to talk about? Patrick, I see you turned your screen on.
No, I'm good. Sorry.
Yeah, all right. So I have this belief that early content, at the very beginning of your business is a vision. And the thing that you have to do is talk about the things about that vision so that you can build an audience. And that building the audience is harder than building the prototype. And so for every hour you put into your engineering, you need to spend an hour or more on your marketing to build the audience for your vision. And that all looks like content. And so I'm posting videos, I'm displaying my expertise in my founder market fit in some way. And if I don't have founder market fit, I'm running experiments to create my learning so that I have founder market fit, right? And that journey is more important than building the MVP. And so if you have a vision, you have to be able to express that vision in a way that attracts an audience around the problem. Yes, Stephen. You're on mute.
Sorry, you are saying you would do this kind of content publication before you have an idea of your customer problem fit, product market fit, anything like that?
I would start with, I believe there's a problem in the world here. Here's all the things that people do that I know about. I'm going to go talk to all the people that use those other tools, the existing alternatives. I'm going to find out what they like and what they don't like. I might as well do that in public so I can run a Zoom meeting around comparing, using LinkedIn ads versus Facebook ads, for example. And just run here's 3 people that like this and 3 people that don't like this, and just have a panel. I can then attract an audience that cares about that question. Now I know there's a bunch of people that care about that question. And now I can run another one that's more detailed, that's for pay, that now tells me which of the interested people actually care enough to pay to be in and learn more. And now I've separated my cheerleaders from the merely interested from the real people that have a problem that need to solve a problem. So yeah, I can do the evaluation of the existing alternatives in the problem space that I'm aiming at without having any solution in mind.
But you start with some kind of what is the here you say there is something here. What category of thing is it?
I have some belief in who the customer is, and some belief in what their problem is, but it's not refined. But I can, start with one person and ask what you do, and then find all the possible solutions to that. I can even go to Google and say, who are these, ChatGPT, who are all the people that have this problem? And it gives me a list of 10 personas, right? And then I go to things, what problems does this persona have? And I get a list of 10 things, and I mush that around until I get to something that, gee, I'd like to spend more time on that, whether it's clean water or educating women or making my ad program on whatever work, or figuring out how to do marketing, or whatever the issue is. I can put a stake in the ground and talk about it. It's a podcast, it's a Zoom call, whatever, and see who shows up. Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah. Would you do that kind of parallel pathing even in a regulated industry? Like, I'm in healthcare. So I have path to market, right? I have a regulatory path, but nothing is guaranteed with the government agencies. Well, I could potentially not get approved.
You are already, well, yes, of course. You always have the possibility that whatever you have won't get through the hooks, right? There's lots of ways there, but you already have a mechanism for that. because how is it that doctors validate the correctness of what you're doing? Someone
yeah.
published a paper somewhere. Somebody went to a
absolutely.
conference. That's a content strategy.
Yeah,
That already exists.
yeah,
And you walk
Yeah.
down the hallway and there's that Pfizer guy there and they have a little conversation and give you the card. And so that
Yeah.
mechanism already is happening. It's just slower than what we do with,
yeah,
you know, Facebook stuff. But
yeah.
if you're doing a product that's going to go through FDA, who's the customer?
Well, it'll be over the counter, so it's a lean, it's a lighter version.
I
But yeah,
doubt
the
that.
parent is the customer.
I doubt that.
You
I
doubt
bet
the
you
parent is the
that
customer?
yeah, I bet that the probability is that you get bought by pharma before you
Oh,
get on the
absolutely,
market. So
absolutely.
the customer for you is pharma, not
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
But you want to tell the pharma people that the users for the pharma people,
Yeah.
parents care. So
Yeah.
there's a parents care pathway that you have to do to evaluate the people who are the users that
Mhm.
validate the market for the pharma so that
Yeah.
pharma leans in, right? That's groundwork for the
Yeah.
sale to the customer being pharma.
Yeah.
But then if you're doing grants to drive pieces of this, like an SBIR grant or
Yeah.
NIH BAA grant, then you would like to have some number of pharma be strategics in supporting the grant.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
also a content strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Any other thoughts or questions? Frank, any thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Stephen.
Sorry, I don't want to dominate, but I did think, you know, Pavel, if you could go into how Squads does the continuous, you know, validation of your own business model, because it does seem kind of hard, as far as I know, as far as I can tell from what I'm learning about Squads.
Yeah, so again, Squad's the community of people working on different projects, right? Several projects, and helping different startups. Continuous improvement of the product, I said, requires continuous monitoring of what's going on with the product and how users are using it. And apparently, it requires setting up a good analytics and creating a feedback loop that impacts how the product is developed. So what Squads can do is to help with setting up such a product analytics and defining those proper KPIs to measure and defining proper user flow and paths that are measured to identify the drop points. This is something that Squads can help.
I meant for Squads itself, meaning Squads has customers, Squads has a product. It seems rather, you know, highly advanced kind of product that you're selling.
No, Squads is selling work of people.
Yeah,
Squads is
so
selling.
Squads is a service organization that sells technical solutions, but sells marketing solutions at the same time, which is an interesting combination. So if you think about how you do customer discovery, and if you go into like the early Eric Ries books, or you go into the Running Lean book by Ash Maurya, we're trying to build a happy customer factory. That's Ash Maurya's language. And what we're trying to do is build a thing, run the build, measure, learn loop, do the marketing, run people through the experiment, get some data, and then build another thing using feedback from that previous build, measure, learn loop to then trim the the tree of all possibilities down, I'm going to do more of the things that work and less of the things that don't work. And I'm going to keep pruning things down until I find a hotspot where that hotspot gets me to cash flow positive. That's my early goal, right? Now I have a expectation that cash flow positive hotspot that I'm going towards also has a much larger market beyond it. But in the early beginning stages, the startup is sprinting to cash flow positive. And so given the structure of the organization, what thing can you do that will gather a group of people that will be happy with what you're doing and get it to go? And it turns out that content can be a product. So you can just monetize the content and make people happy about the content, which will then get you to cash flow positive, at least for your marketing effort, which you can then evaluate whether you can build a product that gets you to a bigger product, which is a thing rather than content, which then is also cash flow positive. And we're trying to do the stepping stones to bigger and bigger and bigger. And at the problem is we start with the whole big elephant of the enterprise solution, and we can't sell one of those for 5 years because it takes us that long to get social validation in the enterprise market. But I could sell one workshop today to somebody about the problem space. And so you have to start where you are and do something that gets you a step up. And we're just trying to get one step up. So if you have 0 customers, your goal is 1, just 1 step up. And the easiest thing for me to sell is something I have today, which should be my understanding of the market, should be monetizable. That's my soapbox. Pawel, your thoughts?
I think, as I said, I think that makes perfect sense.
Yep. So we're going to do a couple more workshops with Pawel, at least with his team. Do you want to talk about those a little bit?
Yes, of course. We planned 2 more workshops. For now, they are not all focused on this thing that I talk about, and there will not be done presentation by me. We will have next time. I can tell exactly when. Just one second.
I'll get it for you. Team Mastery on
It's a
September 10th. Yeah.
Yes, on the September 10th, that will be done by a founder of Squads, Elaine Fuld, who will tell a lot very interesting things about how to build teams based on many years of experience, and I would say quite very good, interesting approach how to do it. So I highly recommend. I really like to listen to Elaine. You can have a bit of the taste about that reading our blog on the Squads website, squads.com. There is a couple of very interesting articles of Elaine about building teams, about ways how decisions should be done in teams, which I would say is very innovative. I would say, and working what we see. And we have another one by Danny, who is here also on the call, planned for 8th of October, and this one is planned to be technical one. We have many. It's from the, I would say, between marketing and development. Every startup at one moment wants to start to promote itself in the internet and build a website, and there is possibility to build it. I would say fast using no-code tools, or invest into some basically development of it from scratch. we wanted to explain differences and that actually there are approaches that are solving a bit different needs. So also highly recommended.
And then this Thursday, we're doing a structuring pitch deck workshop for people that are trying to build pitch decks for companies to raise money. So you might also find that. So I put all of that into the chat. If you go into the 3 dots on your chat, you'll find a place to save your chat, and you can save all of those links. That would be good. Thanks all so much for coming. Thank you so much, Pawel, for this cooperation in these workshop series. It's really a great topic series. I appreciate it a great deal. Hopefully you had fun, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.